Weird is about every single one of us being accepted and for the beautiful, crazy, weird creatures that we are. How can I put that in that doesn't feel like I'm appropriating anything, but makes people go, he cares about that. And that's what I want. That's why I subtly put that in the bottom, because it's about the weird world and the weird place we were going through at the time. You grew up in Pennsylvania. How was that?
It was really difficult because I think I grew up, like I said, I grew up in an all-white town. And so I just felt really out of place just always and didn't really have anyone to relate to. And I just kind of always experienced just growing up feeling too white for the Black kids, but also too Black for the white kids. So I never really felt like I belonged ever. And I was discriminated against and bullied a lot for just being exactly who I was and not even doing anything, like not even doing anything particularly, just by the way I looked. So it was really hard for me to kind of find my place of where I felt I belonged and be able, and I didn't really have anyone to talk to about it either. So I kind of really internalized it, and I developed like a lot of anxiety because of it as well.
Dude, isolation is such a crazy thing, isn't it? It's literally just like when you are like you feel like you are completely out there on your own. It's just like missing a step in the dark. Like that's what isolation anxiety feels. So I'm so sorry you had to go through that. But what you kind of discovered and what you pursued was pretty incredible. So poetry was the medium for you, right? What was it like? When did you first discover poetry?
So, it's so funny. I found an award from like me in like grade 1, first grade, where I got a reward for the best poetry recitation competition. So I've always just had a skill and always a knack for poetry, but I didn't really discover it until I got into high school and I joined a poetry club because I was like, well, I can't talk about my feelings, but I can write about it and put it down in a notebook. And through writing and joining that poetry club, I started to find my voice. But of course, my poems were like always really like inspirational and everything is all happy butterflies. And I was really afraid to like talk about out loud like the deep stuff that was going on within me of why I was so insecure in my skin color and why I had so much anxiety. But being able to write it down and have people who encouraged me like, you need to read this out loud because it's going to help a lot of people. And in doing so, I found so much confidence and courage. My favorite line I've ever written, and the first time I ever talked about it was, I wrote, I'm too insecure in my own skin to say the word Black, and I'm too afraid to tell anyone that because I hate putting myself in a position where I can be vulnerable. And that was like,
dude,
always a line.
I literally have that written down here. I was like, I need to talk to you about that because that was such a hard-hitting line to me. I was like, wow, that is so beautiful and so honest. And when you just said that to me, it kind of blew my mind, and that's why I love this podcast because it gives me a chance to relate to you guys and you guys to relate to me. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like when I first started to write things down as well, that's when I started speaking about it. And I've never really said this before. I've never really said like, people like, how can you talk about feelings so openly? And it's like, when I first started writing things down, I was like, it's out in the world anyway, so I may as well talk about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Once it's on a page, it's out in the world. So like anybody out there going through insecurities or going through anything similar to what Mayling is going through, like was going through, like write it down because it subconsciously gets it out of your body. You're incredible, man. Is there anything else you want to say? Is there anything you want to say to anyone out there who might be going through what you're going through?
Yeah, the biggest thing I want to tell people is don't let anyone tell you that you particularly need to change. You need to change other people's perceptions of you because that's what was my issue is I thought that there was something wrong with me because of the way I was when really there was nothing wrong with me. It was the way that other people were treating and viewing me that was wrong. So don't ever feel like you have to like act a certain way or conform to a certain thing because everyone around you is telling you. If that's not true to who you are, be true to who you are no matter what, because that's what's the most important thing.
Love.
It's the biggest thing. Yes. Real quick, I wanted to ask you about your No Justice, No Peace sign that is on your Weird album that you have, because I know for me, because I found your music around like the same time that Weird came out, and that was something that I immediately connected to. I was like, he cares about Black lives. And I know that just from looking at this cover.
Because I was like, with it, I was like, this is multiple parts of my personality. And when I was like doing the cover, I was like, how can I incorporate? Because obviously I'm I'm a cis white man. You know what I'm saying? I was like, how can I show that support for that community? Because weird is about every single one of us being accepted and for the beautiful, crazy, weird creatures that we are. How can I put that in that doesn't feel like I'm appropriating anything, but makes people go, he cares about that, and that's what I want. That's why I subtly put that in the bottom, because it's about the weird world and the weird place we were going through at the time. So yeah, that's 100% right. That's why it's there.
Yes, and I wanted to thank you for it so much, because that was the first time, like before I even heard like a single song off the album, I have already felt so loved and just so connected to it. And then the more I listened to like the entire album, I cried the whole way through. It was fine. I just cried. I felt just so loved and so supported in a way that I never had. And in the 6 months that I've been a part of this community, I think I felt just more loved and accepted by people than I ever have in my entire life. And it's been absolutely mental. I had so many of my BHC friends who were just like, you're going to do so great today and it's going to be so amazing. And I was just like, thanks for all the support and encouragement.
Everyone's crazy. I mean, it's like, I feel so lucky as well. You know what I'm saying? As I say, it's like, it's kind of got bigger than I ever expected. And like the past 3 months have been weird because a lot of people misunderstand my intention and a lot of people misunderstand me. But I'm so lucky to have this community, and I can't wait for you to hear the new music. It's wild.
I'm so excited. You keep saying
it's a lot more about me, which is interesting because I haven't really spoke about that yet. You know what I'm saying? I haven't really spoke about that yet, so I'm excited.
BBC Sounds, music, radio, podcasts.